What if I told you that the recent eclipse wasn't just another celestial event, but a signal pointing toward a prophecy that's been whispered through the ages? A prophecy that speaks of destruction, revival, and a war that could shape the future of humanity itself. Sounds unbelievable, right? But as we dive deeper, you'll begin to see that the events unfolding around us might not be as random as they seem. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what's happening, but you'll also know exactly how it could impact your life and what you can do to prepare. Trust me, this is one journey you don't want to miss. Let's start with the eclipse. For centuries, eclipses have been viewed as more than just astronomical phenomena. Ancient civilizations saw them as omens, warnings from the heavens that something big was coming. In fact, some of the most significant moments in history seem to align with these celestial events. But what makes this particular eclipse so important? Well, many believe it's tied to a specific prophecy. This prophecy suggests that shortly after a major celestial sign like an eclipse, we'll witness three key events: widespread destruction, an outpouring of the Holy Spirit leading to a massive revival, and a significant conflict involving Israel. Now, let me ask you, does this sound eerily familiar to what we're seeing in the world today?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Look around. Natural disasters are becoming more frequent and intense. Political tensions are boiling over. Economies are on shaky ground. It feels like the world is teetering on the edge, doesn't it? And then there's Israel, a nation that always seems to be at the center of global attention. Could all of this be connected? Could it be the beginning of the prophecy unfolding before our very eyes? Let's break this down. The first part of the prophecy speaks of destruction. Now, when we hear the word destruction, we often think of apocalyptic scenarios, cities crumbling, chaos everywhere. But destruction doesn't always mean the end of the world. Sometimes it means the end of systems, the collapse of structures we've relied on for decades. Think about it. How many of the systems we depend on, political, economic, social, are under strain right now? The global economy, for instance, is facing unprecedented challenges. Political alliances are fracturing. Even our environment is sending us warning signs, with wildfires, hurricanes, and earthquakes becoming more frequent. Could these be the birth pains described in ancient texts? And if so, what comes next? Here's the twist: destruction isn't the end. It's the beginning of something new. The second part of the prophecy speaks of revival and outpouring of the Holy Spirit. Now, this isn't just about religion. Revival can mean a collective awakening, a shift in consciousness that brings people together in ways we've never seen before. History shows us that in times of great crisis, humanity has an incredible capacity for transformation. We innovate, we unite, we find hope in the darkest places. Could this be the revival the prophecy speaks of? Could the challenges we're facing now be setting the stage for a new era of unity and purpose? And then there's the third part of the prophecy, the Israel war. This is where things get really interesting and deeply thought-provoking. Why Israel? Why does this small nation, with a population smaller than many major cities, hold such significance in global affairs? To understand this, we need to go back in history. Israel is more than just a country. It's a symbol, a spiritual epicenter for billions of people around the world. For Jews, it's the promised land. For Christians, it's the birthplace of Jesus and central to end times prophecy. For Muslims, it's home to sacred sites. This tiny piece of land carries immense weight, which is why it's often at the center of global tensions. But it's not just about religion. Geopolitically, Israel sits in a region rich with resources and fraught with conflict. It's surrounded by nations with competing interests, making it a flashpoint for disputes. If a major conflict were to erupt here, the ripple effects would touch every corner of the globe. Economies could collapse. Alliances could shift. Lives would be changed forever. Could this be the war the prophecy is referring to? And if so, are we ready for it? But let me ask you something. If this prophecy is true, what does it mean for you? How should we individuals navigating our own lives respond to something so vast, so seemingly out of our control? Should we prepare for destruction? Embrace revival? Or focus on peace? What would you do if you knew the answers? This brings us to the most important part of this video: your role in all of this. Prophecies aren't just about nations and celestial events. They're about people. They're about you. Whether or not you believe in the prophecy, one thing is clear: the world is changing. And in times of change, preparation is key. So how do you prepare for something as monumental as this? First, stay informed. Knowledge is power. Understand the events unfolding around you, but don't let fear control you. Fear clouds judgment and leads to panic. Instead, focus on what you can do to make a difference in your community, your family, and your own life. Second, seek connection. Times of crisis often lead to division, but they can also lead to unity. Build relationships, find common ground, work together with others to create positive change. Third, reflect on your purpose. If this prophecy is true, what role are you meant to play? Are you a healer? A leader? A seeker of truth? Take time to reflect on your gifts and how you can use them to contribute to the revival and transformation the prophecy speaks of. And finally, don't lose hope. The prophecy speaks of destruction, yes, but it also speaks of revival. It speaks of a new beginning. And while the road ahead might be challenging, history has shown us that humanity is capable of incredible resilience. We've faced crises before, and we've come out stronger. This time will be no different if we choose to act with wisdom, courage, and compassion. So let me leave you with this: if the prophecy is unfolding, what does it mean for your life? What will you do differently? How can you turn fear into faith and chaos into opportunity? The answers to these questions could shape not only your future, but the future of the world. Thank you for staying with me on this journey. We've covered so much already: the prophecy tied to the eclipse, the signs of destruction, the possibility of a Holy Spirit revival, and the critical importance of Israel in this unfolding narrative. But now, as we move forward, I want to challenge you to think even deeper. What does all of this mean for how you live your life today, right now? Because whether or not this prophecy is true, one thing is undeniable: the events happening around us are real, and they demand a response. Let's take a step back and reflect on the bigger picture. Prophecies throughout history have often been warnings not just of doom, but of the need for transformation. They're like signposts, urging us to rethink our priorities, our values, and our actions. So, the question I want you to consider is this: if the world as we know it is changing, how do you change with it? What role will you play in shaping the future? To answer this, let's revisit the three elements of the prophecy: destruction, revival, and war, and explore how they connect to your everyday life. Because while these ideas might seem massive and overwhelming, they're also deeply personal. First, let's talk about destruction. On the surface, destruction seems terrifying. Nobody wants to see systems collapse or chaos erupt. But destruction also creates space for something new to emerge. Think of it like pruning a tree, removing what's no longer healthy so that new growth can thrive. What in your life needs to be pruned? Are there toxic habits, relationships, or mindsets that are holding you back? The world's challenges might be a mirror, reflecting areas in your own life that need transformation. Destruction isn't just about external events, it's about internal renewal. So, I ask you, what are you willing to let go of to make space for something better? Now, let's move to revival. Revival isn't just a religious concept, it's a call to awaken, to rise above the noise and reconnect with what truly matters. In times of crisis, people often rediscover their faith, their purpose, and their communities. What does revival look like for you? Maybe it's about reconnecting with your spirituality. Maybe it's about finding a deeper sense of purpose in your work or relationships. Or maybe it's about coming together with others to create positive change in your community. Revival starts with a spark, a moment of clarity where you realize that you're capable of more. So here's another question for you. What's your spark? What inspires you to rise above fear and take action? Finally, let's address the idea of war, specifically the potential for a conflict involving Israel. While this part of the prophecy might seem distant or unrelated to your everyday life, it's actually a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of our world. What happens in one corner of the globe can ripple out and impact us all. This is a call for awareness, for understanding, and for empathy. And it's also a reminder that peace starts with us, with how we treat the people around us, how we resolve conflicts, and how we contribute to building a more just and compassionate world. So ask yourself, how can you be a peacemaker in your own life? What small actions can you take to bridge divides and foster understanding? As we bring this journey to a close, I want to leave you with a powerful thought. Prophecy isn't just about predicting the future. It's about shaping the future. It's about taking the signs and challenges we see today and using them as fuel for growth, for action, and for hope. And while we can't control everything that happens in the world, we can control how we respond. We can choose to live with intention, to seek truth, and to be a force for good in a world that desperately needs it. So here's my final challenge to you. What legacy will you leave behind? If this prophecy is, in fact, unfolding, how will you rise to meet the moment? And even if it's not, how will you use this time, this opportunity, to become the best version of yourself? The answers to these questions are within you, and they have the power to change not only your life but the lives of those around you. Thank you for being part of this conversation. If this video has resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Because together we can spark a revival not just of the Holy Spirit, but of hope, of love, and of purpose. Don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking content. And remember, the future isn't written in stone, it's written in the choices we make today. Let's choose wisely. Let's choose hope. And let's choose to be the change we want to see. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.